The air, water, earth, and sun awes us. The four awesome forces of nature can provide 1,000 times more energy than we need. You are also awesome. You and me and all Earth kind are the fifth element. We are literally changing the world. Technology is now harnessing nature's awesome power for electricity, heat, and transportation. And the best news is that the clean energy transition can save us money and create a more prosperous, just, beautiful, and sustainable civilization today. Welcome. If you would, let people know who you are, where do you live and work, and what kind of work you do, Eric?
Sure. I live in Texas, so I live in Magnolia, Texas, and I work at a fintech company called GoodLeap. I'm the vice president of Home Innovations Solutions.
Cool.
So Home Innovation Solutions. So
nice. So basically, you provide financing for people to get the stuff that they want to get to be more sustainable. Is that the idea?
You got it. That's the whole idea. So, and we only work with sustainable type products. So anything around the ESG market. So anything that's going to save energy or save water, any
Cool.
of those types.
Great.
So.
All right. We're going to talk about the products in a minute. If you would, we'd like to start out with a quantum quote, a kind of an inspirational quote that helps frame the conversation and that just lets people kind of know your philosophy on life in some ways. So.
Well, George Patton said something around this thing, General George Patton. He said, if everybody's thinking the same, then somebody isn't thinking.
Oh, excellent. Everyone's thinking the same, then someone's not thinking. I love it, man. Patton said that, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's a good one. I like that. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So why are you in this, man? Why do you do what you do? Why do you focus on this stuff?
Well, first of all, I think, addressing climate change and those types of things is really important. And one of the reasons I worked for a nonprofit for almost 20 years that drove that same message home. And then I met the founders of GoodLeap. We were Lone Pal before. We just recently changed our name. And I felt that this was my chance to address it on a bigger scale, to work with renewables, and financing is so key to making all of that stuff happen. And they just had a good plan to go after the energy efficiency market, and so they brought me on to grow the energy efficiency side of our business. We're already the largest solar lender in the space. About 1 out of every 2 solar loans is us right now.
Wow.
So, we plan to be the same in the home improvement space. So that's why I came on.
Outstanding. How long you been there for?
Been there for 2.5 years.
Okay.
2.5 years. Yeah.
Cool.
A little over.
So you guys do the solar financing? 1 out of every 2 solar systems financed with you.
1 out of every 2 solar systems is us right now. So we work with some of the biggest of the big out there in the solar space. We've got a nice direct pay program that helps open guys credit lines. So we're paying distributors directly, so they don't hit the credit lines on that side, on the solar side, and on the home improvement side. We just launched. We're 4 months in, and already starting to make splashes and waves in the space. So
cool, really great.
Yep.
So what kind of trends you see happening? Like what's driving the development of all this stuff?
I think the development of our financing companies specifically, I think what's driving it is a need to give homeowners the ability to actually install some of these projects. And as we know the barrier to energy efficiency is the cost structure, and it's always the afterthought, right? So oftentimes the homeowner wants to do their granite countertops and their tile floors first, and that's what they use their cash for. So how do you offset their power bill enough to where you can come in with a real low monthly payment? And that's what we focus on, is telling them not to you go ahead, do your granite countertops and your tile floors and all the fluffy stuff that you want when people come over, but here, let's give you a low monthly payment on your energy. So you're going to offset some of that with your power bill, if not all of it in the solar array, but still save some energy and save some money on your power bill. So that's the whole idea.
Great. So besides solar, so what other stuff you guys finance? Like insulation and energy efficient heating and cooling equipment, or?
You got it. So it's energy efficient, like geothermal heat pumps, uh, HVAC, insulation, solar thermal, water filtering products, because that saves pipes, of course.
Right.
And anything you can think around water treatment or insulation, home performance, any of those things.
Outstanding. And so, like, you see this whole market growing, or?
Oh yeah, I think everything's been growing through COVID for sure on the home improvement front, because everybody's been at home. So your air's on all the time. You notice your power bills are more because you're in your house more, and all of that's happened. So I think you see the home improvement space overall blowing up and getting really large. But specifically on the energy efficiency side, we wanted to put programs together so when people replace their products, they can take it up a notch, right? So instead of replacing that 14 SEER unit, deciding to actually finance a geothermal heat pump, or at least put in a really high SEER unit, like a 21 SEER, especially if you're in a humid climate and you want to pull out that humidity, putting in an inverter product or something like that. But the cost barrier can be high for a homeowner, especially first time homeowners or folks that are younger that are just getting started in life. It's hard for them to choose the energy efficiency or the higher cost, or to look at that higher cost as something they want to spend. So we put together products that give really low monthly payments and the ability to actually finance those items.
Great. So, like, what sort of terms you guys offering?
So it depends on the product. We look at useful life of the product and try to go out as far as we can based on useful life of the product. So geothermal heat pumps, we can go out to 20 years on a geothermal heat pump. Windows, doors, or siding, 20 years. We can, on all other energy efficiency stuff, we can go out to 15 years.
Okay, awesome. So how do you see this whole market kind of evolving, like the whole sustainable products market? I mean, what's happening? How do you see things exploding and moving forward? And where do you see the big opportunities?
I think the whole thing's exploding. I see R&D happening every year where technology gets better and better and better, and the costs of higher efficiency come down. You see that with solar. When I started in solar, how long you've been in the energy efficiency game or in renewables. In solar, you do it by how cost per watt. When I started, it was $10 a watt, yeah. And now you can regularly get solar in the $350 a watt category. So yeah. It's a totally different game these days than it used to be, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be like you're saying, when it was $10 a watt, the majority of the cost was materials. Now the majority is labor. Materials are under $1. It's pretty incredible. There's the evolution of technology, how the costs keep coming down. So,
and yeah, I think you're seeing it with ductless systems that are coming in now, and variable refrigerant flow. Geothermal is a way different thing than it was even years ago when I first worked with my first geothermal heat pump company. So it's a fun time to see the changes and the advancements in energy efficiency. So we're just, our goal is to get as high a SEER and as high and efficient a product, and get people to think about those energy efficiency projects, and to teach contractors. Really, it's where the rubber meets the road, right? The contractors have to feel comfortable selling it too, not go to the lowest common denominator like they often do. The first thing an HVAC contractor does is says, yeah, I don't think this customer can afford that or is going to want to afford that, so let me try to sell them a 14 SEER unit instead of going right to the 16 SEER or right to the inverter product first, or the geothermal heat pump. If it makes sense for that particular customer, then why not try to sell them a geothermal heat pump? Well, it's the cost barrier that So we want to give them the lowest possible payment, and putting geothermal heat pumps, just like solar, out to 20 years and treating them just like that type of a product gives them the chance to sell that and hopefully get comfortable enough to sell it. Because that's really the answer, is getting the contractor comfortable.
Yeah, the contractor and then the homeowner with the right financing
Yep.
package. You're exactly right. And then you're right about the technology and the evolution. So I've been in clean energy for over 3 decades, and I always stayed away from geothermal because it was so much more of an art than it was a science. And now with the closed loop systems, where basically you just
Yep.
drill in a hole or put it in a field or in a pond and just goes out, comes back, same liquid just flowing around. You don't have to deal with filters and all the contaminants that happen with that. And then the costs have come down so dramatically. The incentives are incredible. And you're looking at, if you have oil or propane, you're looking at a 2/3 reduction in your annual heating and cooling costs by moving to geothermal, because you're using the power of the earth, the energy that the earth soaks up. It takes half the energy of the sun every day, soaks it in, and basically you're using that energy to heat and cool with instead of using fossil fuels. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's a great time, and I'm so glad you guys are in this space now, because financing has been always a key to make this happen. And even though you can get such a dramatic reductions, if it costs you so much out of pocket, takes you too long to get your money back. Hey, if you got a 20-year term, you're going to be in the money from day one, man. So it's a great thing,
Well,
so.
we also give them the ability to re-am that. So after 18 months, they can also apply any money they want towards the loan and lower the payment. So if they're going to apply their tax credit, they can apply their tax credit to the loan and lower their monthly payment as well.
Fantastic. So basically you allow people to, it's a 26% federal tax credit on these geothermal systems, which is pretty incredible. And yeah, if they can just wait till next year, then use that tax payment, that's a great opportunity to then refinance and restructure it. So
Yeah, and if you think about
nice.
that, then it even lowers the bill even more. So now they're really cash positive right away.
Yeah, perfect. Excellent. Outstanding. All right. So lessons learned. So what challenges have you encountered? What lessons have you learned? And what are you doing differently now than when you started out, man?
Well, when I started out years ago, I started out teaching contractors in the home how to fill out a truth in lending box so they rounded the right way, so so they could actually get paid. So it was that many years ago.
Wow.
I think lessons of that I've learned is that it really starts not just with the homeowner and the education, but teaching the contractor to be comfortable selling financing in the home, to open up those opportunities for energy efficiency financing. Before I used to run utility and financing programs for manufacturers and utility companies. And now I got a chance to write my own program, and I took all those lessons that I learned from all those years and applied it. You got to have something simple that contractors will use because they don't want anything mucking up the process. So it's got to be simple. It's got to be easy to use. You got to make all the hard stuff happen in a way that they can't see it, right? So you got to have it quick. You got to have it easy. It's got to be something that's not a barrier for the homeowner or the contractor. And if you can make that seamless and bring good products to bear, then you can get more energy efficiency out there in the marketplace. But what's really important to us is that we give them the tools to upsell to that higher SEER unit, or that put in that insulation, like you're saying about, and then hopefully we're going to cross pollinate and get contractors who are touching a home to sell multiple energy efficiency items is our goal. So
Outstanding.
So introduce them to other contractors that do other things. If they don't want to install it, we'll introduce them to someone that will. We'll introduce them to a solar company that they can partner with. If it's a roofer, let's introduce them to an insulation guy or an HVAC person or a solar company that they can work with. So maybe they not only put on a roof, but maybe teach that homeowner a little bit about solar at the same time. So our whole goal is to cross-pollinate all those groups.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. So if you had, we like to ask for one big and unique value. We call them supernovas, just a tip, tool, or a tactic that you think people really need to know, but they probably don't.
I think there's people tend to put their own personal values on how they would spend their money in their head onto their homeowners. So the whole idea is I would never do that, or I would never pay for that, or I would say consistently going in with a low monthly payment, just assuming that that customer is going to have a payment option. You're going to see, I would say that's the number one thing I've seen over the years that changes contractor stars. If they learn to sell a monthly payment upfront, because let's face it, nobody likes to write a big check. Nobody likes to empty their bank account of cash they have sitting in there. So if you can get them anywhere close to $100 a month in total outgo, you have a much better chance of closing the job. So the one thing I've learned over the years is don't put your own preconceived notions on a customer. Offer them everything and let them choose, and then offer them a payment option that gives them the ability to actually choose the more efficient option.
Excellent. Outstanding. Hey, Eric, in most of our lives, we all kind of had this down period where it was, we kind of we had struggles, and in that down period, we kind of came to some conclusion and shifted our way of thinking. Would you have a story about your worst moment and care to share that, how it turned you around and get you in a little different focus from where you thought you were headed?
Oh, yeah. I can go to 09. I think everybody can go to 08, 09. That story. 08, 09, I had written a program with GE Capital at the time. And I was giving a speech at the Million Solar Roofs Initiative. And just before I went on, I got a call from my rep that literally said all of my programs had been shut down except for the revolving. So at that time I had a revolving account that we had a special program for that we had written just for my company. And then we had an unsecured loan and a 125% loan to value UCC1 loan that we had at the time. That was a great loan. And they took two of the loans away, and the other one was only going to buy the 740 plus FICO score after that. So it was a life lesson to me that not to put all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah. Yep. And there's certain things go ahead.
I still teach people that today. So, I even tell them you can use us as a number one, but you always want to have a backup and have things around. I mean, as a contractor, it's important to have options and to keep those options open. So
always have a backup plan, huh?
Always have a backup plan. You got it.
There we go. All right. So was there a particular moment in time when you're doing what you were doing and you had this incredible sort of aha, that's what it is, that's what I got to do, the aha moment, the big inspirational time, and you got one to share?
Yeah, I think my big inspirational moment for me is probably about my 100th time in home with a contractor. I was with a contractor who was relatively small. Him and his brother both ran a shop together, and I think their main goal was to just be entrepreneurs and do whatever. But in the home with them, sitting in front of a customer, he started trying to close the transaction without offering financing this time. And I was just doing ride-alongs with him to teach him financing. And here I am, the financing guy, and he just went right to the price and of the unit. And instead, I calculated the payment, and I just said, "Hey, well, I'm here as the financing person. I could let you know that payment would only be X per month." Oh, now I'm interested. And the light went on for them, and they grew, and now they're a $70 million a year company. Seeing them grow, embracing financing every step of the way, but seeing the light go on in the contractor's eyes when the person said, "Yeah, I'll take that payment," is now probably my favorite thing to do, is to teach contractors who don't understand how important that is to do that. So that's what I get excited about. I get excited when the light goes on in somebody's mind and they're like, "Oh, it's that easy." Yes, it is.
Great.
It really is that easy.
All right. Fantastic. All right. We're going to enter what we call the Pulsar Round. And this is where we ask you a series of questions and we're looking for your short, succinct, amazing, and mind-blowing answers. Are you ready, Eric?
I'm ready.
All right, man. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice I ever received was to always be patient. My great uncle was somebody I looked up to quite a bit, and he always told me to be patient, and he was a very patient man himself. And so every time I find myself frustrated, I take a step back and try to think about what he said and be patient and mindful before I say or do anything. So
outstanding. Take a breath, be patient. There you go.
Take a breath. Yeah.
There you go, man.
You don't have to make instant decisions all the time, right?
Very true. Outstanding. And a lot of times those instant knee-jerk reactions are not necessarily what you would do if you took a break, right? So yes. Indeed. Uh-huh. All right. One of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I would say listening to my clients on what they need so that I can help them grow their business. Most important thing I do is try to understand where their personal growth is in their business, what they need, and how I can help them grow their business. So focusing on growing their business instead of growing mine has been the key to my success over time. It's really caring about my client. Sometimes you have to take a step back in your company to do the right thing for the other company. And ultimately, in the end, it always takes you a step forward. So
outstanding. So watch out for your customers and listen closely. Excellent.
Listen closely. Yep.
All right. You have an internet resource you'd like to recommend to people?
An internet resource that I'd like to recommend to people. Well, we do have a new training division that we started for solar. So if anybody's interested in getting into solar, we do have Next IQ, which is a training division that we started to try to convert HVAC contractors and other folks into kind of walking them through how to become a solar contractor.
Outstanding. Next IQ, eh?
Next IQ. Yep.
.com.
Yep.
There you go. Nextiq.com. And how about a book you'd recommend?
Yeah. So I am a fantasy lover. So I like anybody who wants to read a great series, I would read the Wheel of Time series.
The Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Haven't heard that one. And I'm into fantasy, so I'll have to check it out. The Wheel of Time. All right. Yeah. Outstanding. Hey, if you had a magic wand and you could wave it and change one thing for everybody in the world, what would it be?
It would be that if I could change one thing for everybody in the world, I would say I would wish that everybody could be at peace.
That would be great.
So if you could wave one thing and everybody could just be at peace with who they are and what they are and everything else.
And everybody else, stop hating and killing, huh? There you go. Yeah. Be a nice thing, right? Yeah, that's great, man. Outstanding. All right. Call this section WTF or F. Weathertime Fudge, an extreme weather event that you lived through and tell the tale, or Weathertime Fun, the most fun you've ever had and the type of weather it was.
Yeah, I can tell. I was with a finance group that was trying to recruit me in Iowa, and we were sitting down for dinner, and storm went off and lightning hit the power and knocked the power out. Well, this particular steakhouse we were in was a steakhouse where you cooked your own steaks, so they had barbecue pits in there, and so they needed the power to pull out the smoke. So it started filling with smoke, and so we all had to go out on the outside the restaurant, and they had this little just a little tiny cover in the front of the restaurant. So of course we let anybody who wanted to stay under that cover, but there wasn't enough room for everybody, so we had to walk out. So we walked out right outside after, and it hadn't started raining yet, but you could see the thunder and lightning going up, and then the heavens just opened up. So here we are, we're all dressed up for a business thing, and literally we were soaked. And it was my introduction to Midwest weather as opposed to California weather where I lived at the time. We were 100% soaked in about 2 seconds. I mean, it was like, I couldn't believe that rain actually came down like that. So that's my memory. And I took that into account when I moved to the Midwest, and have seen rain like that recently just here, because I live about 50 minutes north of Houston. So.
Is that right? Wow. So you went through the winter of hell too, huh?
I didn't go through the winter. It was right after the winter, so I missed that. I just got to the house I bought. I had to replace a bunch of plants. That didn't make it through that. So
yeah, it's amazing how these extreme weather events becoming more frequent, more intense, and everywhere you go, it's all unpredictable now. I mean, it's just crazy. So well, thanks for sharing that. That was a great story, man. Yeah. All right. What's one thing you're most energized about today, Eric?
I'm just energized about, I love where I work. I love the people I work with. I'm energized about the company that I work for. It's an amazing group of people, people that have been at all walks of their life, been super successful at other places, had failures at other places, and where a lot of them are mature enough and or old enough to recognize those failures and not do those same things again. And it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to work with a lot of really smart people who want to make a difference. So really enjoy it. Nice.
Yeah, they say there's really no such thing as failure. You either win or you learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So yeah, man. All right. So what's your next steps? What are you rolling out and doing?
I'm rolling out home improvement to the US. So we're totally excited about it. We've come out of beta with a really strong program, of a great technology, point of sale technology that, I mean, you could literally process a loan in less than 2 minutes, and have the best approval rates out there in the industry because of the way we just think a little bit differently than a typical finance company does. Because most of the folks that work at our company have all been a big or worked for or sold in the home or owned a contracting firm in the past. So we don't think like just financing people. We think like we know what it means to sell in the home and what it means to be an installer out there in these times. So we come from a little bit different mindset than a typical finance company.
Outstanding.
So, yeah.
All right, grand finale, piece of parting advice. And if you want people to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Best way is you can either email me at ehowarth@goodleap.com. So EHOWARTH@goodleap.com, or call my cell. I'm totally open to calls all the time at 209-423-6795. So I take calls at all times. So
great. A piece of parting advice.
I would say offer a low monthly payment as your first option every single time. And then for your cash buyers, still offer them a no interest, no pay option, because sometimes it's just hard to write that big check. So just remember that every time. If you go in with that thought process, you're going to sell more items and more efficient items all the time.
Outstanding. Anything we missed that you wanted to touch on? You want to say?
No, enjoyed it. It's been a good deal.
All right. Hey, thank you very much, Eric. Thanks for joining us today, awesome people. We'd like to hear from you, and we'll give you the chance to win a $150 LED light fixture if you help us understand how Awesome Earthkind can help you achieve your clean energy goals. Just go to awesomeearthkind.com and click on Tell Us. When you fill out the survey, you'll automatically be entered into a sweepstakes for a free LED light fixture, and we'll be giving one away every month for the rest of the year. If you like what we're doing, Please rate and review the Awesome Earthkind podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're interested in adding clean energy consulting to your existing business offerings, go to awesomeearthkind.com/earn. When you refer us to a commercial building and they decide to go clean and save green with Earthkind Energy's consulting services, your referral will save money and you'll earn finder's fees worth thousands of dollars. Remember, you are an awesome force of nature and can make a real difference. Take your next step to create the clean energy future we all want and our children need and deserve. Until next time, take care, be well, and energize.